Okay, Radel Solis right here. This is going to be a tutorial that works with 3ds Max 2013, 2012, 2011, 2010, and so on. Do not expect this to work with the raw version of 3ds Max, let's say the first version, but this will work with many versions that offer auto key, set key, dope sheet editor. Okay, so continuing, the question and request was from a guy by AJ Teague. He says he's trying to create camera views inside a stadium. He has 9 cameras set in different locations, but he cannot switch to different when creating an animation. No keyframes are created when he changes the camera in the viewport at different frames, so nothing changes in the animation sequence. He did not read apparently what I wrote here, else he could have gotten a general idea of how to do it. He's using 3ds Max 2012, and basically he wants to do a walkthrough of some sort of thing inside a stadium where certain floodlights get turned off at different times. At each section of lights is turned off, whatever. So he wants to change camera views and toggle lights on and off. And I will show how to do smooth light transitions from on to off, and raw as in on off, bam. But on and off is not applicable, whatever, in the real world because of light decay, meaning that when I turn a light off, the light will not disappear instantly. There will be about a few milliseconds for the light to decay, and depending on the light bulb type, the light bulb will still be glowing. So okay, I'm gonna open up a 3ds Max scene in which I will toggle lights on, off, move camera views. Okay, let's work with this new scene exterior. Let's see if I got something better. New scene interior, too many polygons. Circular empty. This'll probably work. Okay, let's use this scene. You can use any scene. The guy who requested this is working with a stadium. There will be no difference other than the lights that he uses. And how did my units get set to centimeters? Oh man, this is bad. I gotta change a whole lot of files. Customize. Let's go over the basic 3ds Max. Select and link. You can link space warps, lights to objects. And well, this link is just used for movement. I can link this to this, and when I move this, this will move, and so on and so forth. Depends on how you link it. I can go both ways, and well, when I do this, I usually link both objects to each other from A to B and from B to A. And this is for the space warps. I will need to use snaps. To configure snaps, right click the button, go to clear all because a few of these useless snaps will be turned on. I do not need to snap to my grid unless I have my grid configured to my desire, which I don't, so I'm just going to use vertex, midpoint, and I'll just use vertex and midpoint. Okay, no, that's everything I need. My snaps, I'm gonna stay with my 5-degree angle snap, and if you got it set to anything else, just adjust it to your liking. I like to use 5 degrees in this case. On the lower right, you see it goes up in 5-degree increments. I can change this to 40, and with every time my mouse goes a node to the right, it will move over 40 degrees, rotates on the pivot. And I like 5. The next thing that's on the list for snaps to work, I need to turn on angle snaps. Without this will not snap to every 5 degrees, so I don't need this, or this. Oops. Okay. Press T, top viewport, simple. If you don't know it, I don't need my landscape. I will not need my sun, and why do I got 2? I have my camera. Okay, I don't need this, I don't need this. Control to select multiple objects. And Alt to deselect an object one by one in case I want to keep a few selected and not having to start over. If I press F3, you will notice I have no lights where they're supposed to be. I will create lights. What will I use? If I want to impress, I will always use photometric lights. Standard lights will work, let's say if we're doing a simple I don't even see the use for standard lights, but they do create awesome effects sometimes in few scenes, which are the type where I don't need any type of realism, just raw. But what I will create is a free light center. Now, what are my snaps for? I will snap to the midpoint of my light holder, whatever you want to call this. I will set my type of light bulb. Let's just settle for a 75 watt. Light properties, target distance 12 feet. This varies for everyone. Ray trace this usual default, that'll work. Uniform, spotlight, spherical, light bulb type. Candelas, I can check out a manufacturer's and see how much lumens, candelas, whatever units they give me. I'm gonna use 1500. I don't want any dimming, but that will be useful later. Emit light from point? No, I want to emit light from a sphere because my light bulb is typically a sphere with the radius of 0 feet, 1.5. If you were using actually 0 feet, 0.75 inches. If you are not using real world dimensions, as in feet, fractional, whatever you want to call this, if you are not using any type of units, then you have started out wrong from the beginning. Unless you're using the scanline renderer, which for the scanline renderer, I guess that's just for any type of small scene particle effects. But if you want to go for realism, you must use real world units. Okay, anyways, back to the main purpose of the tutorial. Press F to see the front, set my light at the height. Snaps to allow me to move freely. You can move on the X, Y axis. In case you didn't notice, just make sure the X or the Y is highlighted. F3 toggles wireframe on and off, and F4 toggles for what do you call these line segments to be visible. And I work with F3 and F4 a lot for performance and for modeling purposes. Okay, so I go to render setup. I don't need I don't got a draft preset. I should make one. Mental ray. Okay, let's see what this gives us. Send video. Okay, load render. Okay, so my light does not look good at all. This is not the appropriate scene. I don't remember the issue I had with this scene specifically, but there is an error with this scene. So anyways, right now you just saw that my light was on. I'm going to go to my tools, light lister. This will show me every single light that I have in the animation, the scene. And to animate lights to turn on and off, I will need to go to auto key, select my light, set a key when it's on, resulting intensity. I will use this. So okay, I'm gonna use resulting intensity, set a key, go to my desired frame where I want the light to turn off, and set another key, this time at 0. What will happen in this animation is that my light will slowly dim until it is off throughout the playback. So over the course of 50 frames, my light will decrease in intensity, as you can see. And you can see 3ds Max roughly calculating the scene's illumination. Now if I want the light to sharply turn off, I will set another key one frame before the light is at 0. This I will set to 100%. Now what's going to happen from frame 0 to 49, the light will be at 100%. As soon as it gets to frame 50, bam, 0. The realist in the real world, of course, light does not just disappear, which is gonna happen in this scene, because when I render it, it's gonna be a lossless format .avi, depends on what you want to do. I usually and recently started using the MOV file type for two reasons. The AVI file is for some reason always gets messed up to where I cannot use it when I take it into After Effects, because it's 0.99 gigabytes all the time. Some frames are lost for no reason. But anyways, you get the point. From frame 0, my light's at 100%. I make sure it's at 100%. I change my slider to the desired time in which I want the light to turn off. So I create it at frame 50, a keyframe, and set my light to 0. At first, my light would dim from 100% to 50 to 50. So from 100% to 0 over the course of 50 frames. This means that my light will turn off will be at 0% within almost 2 seconds. So usually if you're working with dimming, what do you call those switches, dimmer, whatever they are, if you're working with that, you usually turn off or dim your lights within, I don't know, a quarter or 3/4 of a second. So for that effect, I'm gonna create a keyframe a few frames before my light is at 0 and set it to 100%. So let's just do this real quick again, in case you didn't capture this. From 0 to 50, I go to 0, set my keyframe because my light's gonna be 100% right here. I want my light to be at 0% value. Within 2 seconds, I set a 0 here, set a keyframe. Any numeric property can be set to 0 to any actual number, so what I just said makes no sense, but what I meant to say was that any slider that has any type of value can be linked to the time control right here. So that means that, let's say I want to change the radius of the circle, I can link anything I want, and once I change the value, you will see it with this red overlay, and that means that I changed it and that it's linked to my time. What I just pressed was Control X, that changes you into expert mode, and that's if you have every single thing that you need to create a scene linked to a hotkey anyways. My light will dim from 100% to 0 over the course of 2 seconds. And you can see this go down. I don't want my light to disappear over the course of 2 seconds, so I will make a keyframe a few frames before it's at 0. Add a keyframe with the key button, set it to 100%, and now my light will stay on for X amount of frames until it gets to 50. At 50, it will start decaying until it reaches 60 at 0%. So 0 to 50, okay. 50 to 60, bam, off. That's the light part of the tutorial. Now the camera part. I turn auto key off because if I leave it on, I will probably change something. And I don't want that to change. Now my camera. I'm gonna turn my camera because I want my camera to be here at frames 0 to 60, and at frame 0 to 60 it's going to be here. At frame 60 to 100 it's going to be here. Now the guy was probably doing, well, he says he has multiple cameras set up, so I'm guessing he was going from like at frame 30 he had auto key on frame 30, then clicked on frame 60, press C, and he expected it to change from camera A to B to C over the course of those frames. But obviously it does not work that way. There are two options for this to work. The first option, render the frames that you want from camera A, then go to render setup and render the frames that you want from camera B. If you have an animation where camera A sees things happening from frame 0 to 200, for example, and you don't want camera B to show things that happen from 0 to 200, you can simply change the range from 200 to the rest of the frames that you want. So what I'm going to do is make my camera move from point A to point B to point C to point D, wherever I want, and that can happen in two ways. I'm guessing the person wants his camera to be at point A and record, and then B immediately with no delay. This is simple, of course. Auto key, set my camera position, go to my frame 60, set another camera position, and now I want my camera to be looking this way. Now what happened here? My camera moves from point A to B over the course of 60 frames. I do not want that. So what I just did was select keyframe 60, hold shift, move it one frame over. This sets the position right here immediately, and what I want is to press and hold shift, click on this keyframe, drag it over. So what happens now? From 0 to frame 58, my camera is at position A. Once it hits 59, my camera is immediately at position B and will continue to be there. But what happens if I delete frame 59 and just move it over? It works well both ways. You can keep this frame and copy it over, although it's not necessary. Simply what you just need to do is have your camera positioned with a keyframe at its original position, position A for example, move it over to position B, time it, press X if you can't see this, move it to position B, change it to however you want it, and because I don't want this to move over the course of 59 frames, I'm going to grab its original position, move it one frame before. Now that's all. Play, position A, position B. A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. It is that simple. So that's all, and you also see my light dimming. And I hope this tutorial helps the guy who requested this and helps anyone who wants to control their lights and cameras. Another option, well, let's go over this real quick. Let's go to the, where did it go? Graph editors, track view dope sheet. I see my scene materials if I want to edit them. Where are my objects? Camera 001, click it and it shows up now. My transforms, that's what I care about. Here are my keyframes. I will show you the use of these. I'm gonna make a quick circle, sphere, auto key, frame 0, set key, frame 40, move it over, set key, it moves from here to here over blah 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 frames. Sphere 001, okay, so let's see transforms, control to zoom in, control with the mouse wheel to zoom in, sorry. And my position. These are the type of these are the properties that you must edit in order to change how the object moves from one place to another. And what I just moved changes how the sphere will roll or move from point A to B, and how it will play back. Notice how it slowed down. Right click to edit, change these. And that's your transition effects. If you want smooth, sharp, motion, transition, go to your dope sheet. And well, yeah, that's it. If I keep going, this will get complicated, but that's simple enough. What you just learned, how to create a form to control your light properties, how to fade your lights in and out, how to control your camera, and now you can just render happily from frames 0 to frames 1000, however you want. And wherever you specified your camera to move, you will be able to move it sharply or smoothly. So in my case, right here my camera is at B. Immediately it goes to position B. Position A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B. And my lights, of course, dim. See? Right here. That's all. Hope you learned something, and I'm off. Any questions or requests? I am a high school student. I've been working with 3ds Max for 3 years. What do I know? Basic modeling, advanced modeling, rigging, and yes, I know 3ds Max in and out. I also know how to use this new reactor, photorealistic renderings. If you want to check it out, just go to my site. If you want to check out my work, I mean, just go to my site at raudelsolis.blogspot.com, or you can check out my Behance network portfolio. So and those are my two main places where I upload my projects. I also often upload at cattutor.net, and LinkedIn.com is a site for professionals and for beginners to join and put themselves out there. That's all. Questions, requests, don't hesitate to message me.